Imagine, for a moment, stepping into a world where men of all sizes, ages, and nationalities mingled together in this, really opulent smoking room, where an atmosphere of serenity and repose just completely enveloped you. It promised this perfectly managed escape from the everyday world.
Sounds idyllic, doesn't it? Utterly divine.
It really does. But what if, beneath that glittering facade, there was this whole labyrinth of secrets, high-stakes deals, maybe even international intrigue, all unfolding?
Well, if the luxury itself was just cover.
Exactly. What if that very fabric concealed something deeper, maybe something darker?
Ooh, okay.
Welcome the learner to a deep dive where we're going to pull back those velvet curtains on exactly that kind of place.
I'm ready.
Today we are diving headfirst into the initial, pretty electrifying chapters of Arnold Bennett's classic, The Grand Babylon Hôtel.
Ah, Bennett. Good stuff.
Yeah. We're taking a real plunge into this early 20th century Fantasia on modern themes. We're using our sources like a map, basically, to navigate its luxurious, but as we're about to find out, surprisingly treacherous halls.
A Fantasia. I like that description. It fits.
It really does. So our mission today is to properly unpack this incredibly rich tapestry. We're not just, tracing the plot twists, though there are plenty.
Oh, I bet.
We're going to explore what this fictional world, set right in a time of huge global change, really reveals about the real mechanisms of power, the influence of massive wealth, and the hidden agendas that can turn what seems like a totally ordinary hotel transaction into this grand, bewildering, and frankly dangerous adventure.
Okay, so appearances can be deceiving. Very deceiving.
Totally. Get ready to challenge your assumptions about what you see on the surface, because honestly, you're in for some profound aha moments, and I suspect maybe a few gasps along the way.
That's absolutely right. The Grand Babylon Hôtel, the way Bennett lays it out in our sources, it's so much more than just a magnificent backdrop. It's practically a living, breathing character itself.
Yeah. How so?
Well, our sources describe it so vividly. It's this establishment of immense, almost unparalleled reputation, strategically located right there on the embankment in London.
Okay, prime location.
Definitely. And even though it was apparently dwarfed by several colossal neighbors, it still proudly stood as first among the hotels of Europe. First in expensiveness, first in exclusiveness, first in that mysterious quality known as style.
Style. That's interesting. Hard to define, but you know it when you see it.
Exactly. It's a remarkably detailed snapshot of this specific opulent moment in history. A symbol of an age where luxury and discretion were intertwined with this burgeoning global society.
Okay, let's start right at the beginning then. What exactly was a grand hotel like the Grand Babylon back then at the turn of the 20th century? Because, when we think of luxury hotels today, it feels quite different from what this new social space really represented.
It really was different. It was revolutionary in a way.
How so?
Well, a Grand Babylon Hotel, founded way back in 1869 by this fellow, Felix Babylon.
Felix Babylon, okay.
It was meticulously designed, and I mean meticulously, to be a first-class establishment. It had to exude this atmosphere of serenity and repose.
Serenity and repose. Sounds lovely.
It wasn't just about comfort, though. It was about creating a specific social environment, characteristic of these perfectly managed aristocratic spaces.
Right, like a private club almost.
Kind of, but also fundamentally different. Before these grand hotels popped up, elite social gatherings were mostly confined to private clubs, yes, or country estates, maybe grand townhouses in the city. The Grand Hotel completely changed that landscape. It became this novel, public, yet still very exclusive arena. A place where the upper crust of society, and this is crucial, along with the rising tide of new industrial wealth.
Ah, the new money.
Exactly. They could converge, interact, do business all under one roof, often with a remarkable degree of anonymity and discretion.
So it wasn't just a place to crash, it was like a stage for a whole new kind of social performance.
Precisely. It offered this unparalleled level of service, discretion, luxury. It reshaped how the wealthy thought about travel, hospitality, even public interaction. And that aristocratic monotony mentioned in our sources, it's not meant as a criticism.
No, it sounds a bit dull.
Not to them. It was actually a highly sought-after quality. It refers to this meticulously controlled, utterly predictable environment where your every need was anticipated, every potential disturbance just smoothed over.
Okay, I get it. Like a bubble.
Exactly. A haven of refined calm, a sanctuary from the, chaotic industrial world buzzing just outside its doors. But paradoxically, it was right at the heart of early globalization for the elite. Think of it as this carefully constructed bubble where the world's power brokers could meet quietly.
And what a bubble it must have been. Our source paints this picture, doesn't it? Men of all sizes, ages, and nationalities dining there. We hear about a German prince or the Maharaja of some Indian state being within its walls.
Yeah.
This wasn't just about fancy rooms, it was about global connections, a proper crossroads for the world's elite. How on earth did the hotel maintain that kind of reputation?
Its core policy, its absolute note was discretion, always discretion, and quietude, simplicity, remoteness.
Discretion above all else.
Absolutely. It famously boasted a genuine separate entrance for royal visitors constantly in use. That alone tells you something. It underscores its role as this nexus for, well, international diplomacy, high-stakes business deals, and, as we're going to discover, even some pretty covert affairs.
All hidden beneath the surface of luxury hospitality.
Precisely. It was all concealed. The hotel served as this crucial, almost invisible piece of international infrastructure, the absolute epitome of early globalization for the privileged few.
Wow.
As one character in our source puts it, quite bluntly actually, men that move the world put up under my roof.
That says it all.
It does. And this ability to cater to and fiercely protect the privacy of such powerful individuals was its greatest asset. But it was also its greatest vulnerability, as we'll see.
How so?
Well, it promised this impenetrable shield for its guests. But what if the people inside the shield weren't who they claimed to be?
Ah, right. Which brings us to this fascinating element, the internal power structures. Our sources talk about the key figures who really ran this massive place. Jules, the head waiter, Miss Spencer, the bureau chief, and Rocco, the chef, and calls them the hotel's three gods. That's striking, isn't it? These aren't just staff members. They're depicted as almost mythical figures within this meticulously crafted world. It's a real aha moment that makes you immediately question who holds the actual power.
It's an incredibly insightful description, honestly. And it immediately highlights this fascinating reversal of traditional hierarchies, doesn't it?
Totally.
The almost godlike status given to these individuals. It's a clear sign of where the true operational power lay in an establishment like that. Often, it overshadowed the proprietor himself.
So Jules, the head waiter, he wasn't just carrying plates.
Oh, far from it. He's described as celebrated, formal, and incredibly alert. A man who possessed the secret of receiving and executing orders with that air of profound importance of which only really first-class waiters have the secret.
Wow, that's quite a skill.
It is. He wasn't just serving food. He was managing this complex system of information, control, social dynamics. It's not just about perfect service. It's about this intrinsic authority that comes from irreplaceable expertise and this deep, deep understanding of the hotel's very intricate ecosystem.
He sounds less like an employee and more like, I don't know, a high-level diplomat of hospitality.
That's a great way to put it. Precisely. And Miss Spencer, the bureau chief, she's equally formidable.
Okay.
Described as impeccably dressed, well-known, and as important as Jules himself. Apparently, she'd been the bureau clerk since the Grand Babylon had first raised its massive chimneys to heaven.
So she's the institution's memory, the keeper of secrets.
Exactly. The central nervous system of the hotel's admin functions. And then you've got Rocco, the renowned chef. He commanded an astounding salary, $2,000 a year.
$2,000 a year.
Immense. Equivalent, the source says, to the treatment of an ambassador.
That just highlights the incredible value placed on that high-end service, especially the food.
Absolutely. So these three figures, alongside the actual proprietor, they effectively ran the hotel. They held more practical sway day to day than any owner likely could.
And that dynamic, it kind of foreshadows how the official owner might wield less real control than the people who truly understand the underlying mechanics, the loyalties.
Exactly. It's a critical insight into the vulnerabilities that can exist even within seemingly rigid hierarchies.
It's a perfect example of how, in these highly specialized, service-focused places, certain people become indispensable, almost sacred. They are the style of the place.
Well said.
But then, into this perfectly calibrated, aristocratic monotony, boom, Theodore Racksole arrives.
The disruption.
The major disruption. Described as a brash American millionaire, supposedly the third richest man in the United States, he's hitting London for his first European visit in over 20 years, and bam, he immediately clashes with this established European order.
And this is where we see that profound clash of cultures. It's absolutely pivotal to how the story unfolds.
Tell me more.
Racksole's American methods. They're described as being resolutely opposed by the Grand Babylon's traditional European stance. especially when it came to eating, drinking, and lodging.
So it's more than just service preferences.
Oh, much more. It's a collision of deeply ingrained national identities, expectations. You have American enterprise, often seen as direct, efficient, maybe a bit democratically spirited.
Right, get it done.
Yeah. Meeting European tradition, which values decorum, established procedures, unspoken rules, a certain aristocratic reserve. The hotel's carefully cultivated calm is, in many ways, sacrosanct.
And nothing shows this clash better than the famous or infamous angel kiss incident.
Ah, yes. The cocktail.
Racksole, with his typical American directness, orders this specific cocktail maraschino, creme de menthe, sounds interesting. And Jules, the celebrated head waiter, responds with what the source calls palpable august disapproval.
They can just picture it.
Totally. Jules states, with this almost imperceptible sneer, "If it's an American drink, I fear we don't keep it, sir."
Ouch. That's not just about a drink, is it?
Not at all. It's like a microaggression, a direct challenge to the hotel's deep-seated calm and its aristocratic monotony.
It's such a beautifully crafted moment of friction. Racksole's insistence, I didn't suppose you did keep it, but you can mix it, I guess, even in this hotel.
Pushing back.
He's directly challenging the hotel's self-image as this unique, unyielding bastion of European luxury, an institution above common requests.
So Jules wasn't refusing because they lacked the ingredients.
Probably not. It was about upholding the hotel's style, its perceived superiority. The source even notes the resentment of Jules on being requested to supply Mr. Theodore Racksole with an angel kiss will therefore be appreciated. It reveals just how deep the perceived insult of the hotel's very essence went.
Wow.
So this seemingly trivial request, it escalates immediately into this statement about who holds authority, whose desires dictate the environment. And it perfectly sets the stage for Racksole's next, rather audacious move.
Okay, so let's just sum up this first section. What we've seen is the Grand Babylon Hotel emerge as this absolute pinnacle of early 20th century European luxury, defined by its grandeur, its rigid, almost sacred style. It's governed by these powerful traditional figures, Jules, Miss Spencer, Rocco, the true arbiters of its aristocratic order, its hidden power structure.
The three gods.
Three gods, exactly. And then this perfectly managed world is instantly confronted by the disruptive force of American new money Theodore Racksole. His unconventional demands, like the angel kiss, challenge the very foundations of its European tradition.
It sets the stage beautifully for this fascinating power struggle, but it's one that goes way beyond just a palace, as you said.
Absolutely. It's the moment when, the irresistible force of New World ambition meets the seemingly immovable object of Old World tradition.
And the consequences, as we're about to see, will be far-reaching.
Yeah.
They transform a simple hotel stay into something much, much more profound.
And dangerous. And they certainly are far-reaching. Let's move into section 2, because Racksole, he is not the kind of guy to back down. His defiance leads to this just astonishing acquisition, and then almost immediately to abduction.
Right. Things escalate fast.
So Racksole, this incredibly wealthy American millionaire, he's denied his angel kiss. What does he do next? Well, in an act that seems to be part business savvy, part pure whimsical defiance, he decides to buy the entire Grand Babylon Hotel.
The whole thing.
The whole thing. For £400,000, including the leasehold and goodwill. And this is despite it only generating an annual profit of £34,000.
Wow. That's not a great return on investment on the face of it.
Not really. This isn't just a business deal. It feels like an act of assertion, almost amusement, maybe, to a man who commands these vast fortunes.
This impulsive purchase, it really highlights Racksole's unique character, doesn't it? And the distinct American energy and ingenuity he brings to the European scene. He treats buying the hotel as mere relaxation. A change from railroads, he calls it. Not a serious, calculated business venture at all.
And a change from railroads. For someone who owns 1,000 miles of railway, I guess £400,000 is like pocket change.
Almost, yeah. It's a trivial expense for him. And this casualness is completely foreign to Felix Babylon, the original proprietor. Even though Babylon is apparently accustomed to every eccentricity of wealth, he still recognizes the immense gravity of selling his life's work.
So Racksole's approach shows his wealth, yes, but maybe also a bit of naivety about the complexities of a living, breathing institution like a grand hotel compared to, say, a railroad.
Absolutely, and this raises that important recursive question the novel really digs into. Why does Racksole, this man who owns 1,000 miles of railway, treat buying this hotel so lightly? How is his understanding of control so drastically different from a hotel's reality? He almost compares it to buying a watch at one point.
Yeah, that's a huge difference.
It's a profound difference in understanding control, and it's absolutely central to his character and the mystery that unfolds. For Racksole, who built his fortune on railroads, massive industrial things, control is absolute. It's measurable, it's mechanical.
Right. You own the tracks, the engines, the schedule. You dictate everything.
Exactly. But a hotel, especially one with a deep-rooted traditions, these three gods like the Grand Babylon, it operates on a completely different level. It's a human ecosystem, built on reputation, intricate social dynamics, discretion, and the specialized, often unspoken knowledge of its long-serving staff. Felix Babylon himself actually warns Racksole.
What does he say?
In this moment of real foresight, he says, "You'll regret the purchase, Mr. Racksole. There's something about the Grand Babylon. There's something about it." He explicitly tells him, "You think because you control a railroad or an ironworks or a line of steamers, therefore you can control anything."
Yeah.
But no, not the Grand Babylon. Isn't it? Racksole thinks he can just impose the same top-down control he uses in industry. He's about to find out, very quickly, that the hotel's reality is far more organic, secretive, and resistant to his American energy than he ever imagined.
And the source drops that intriguing detail, too, that Felix Babylon is actually a prince.
Yes, which hints at these deeper aristocratic connections, intrigues beneath the commercial surface, something far removed from Racksole's world of industry. His idea of control is about ownership, financial leverage. The hotel, it runs on loyalty, information, deeply embedded personal influence. Totally different.
And it really doesn't take long for that illusion of control to just shatter, does it?
Nope, almost instantly.
Immediately after the purchase, that tranquility, that aristocratic monotony is violently disrupted. Miss Spencer, the indispensable bureau chief, one of the hotel's gods, mysteriously disappears.
Vanishes.
It's almost like the hotel itself is reacting to the new owner, just shedding its key components.
This is Racksole's rude, immediate awakening. His introduction to the true nature of his new possession. He thought he'd bought a perfectly managed establishment, right?
Yeah.
But almost instantly, it starts showing these huge cracks, revealing a much more complex, much more unsettling reality. Miss Spencer's disappearance isn't just a staff problem. It's like a symbolic collapse of the hotel's internal order, directly tied to Racksole taking over.
So Felix Babylon's warning, "You will have your hands full," starts coming true really fast.
Grimly and rapidly, yes. Racksole learns the hard way that a hotel is not a railroad. The human element, the deep secrets, the ambiguous loyalties among the staff. You can't easily control those or account for them on a balance sheet just because you're the new owner.
The hotel's famous efficiency is suddenly undermined. It definitely hints at something deeper, a conspiracy maybe?
Absolutely. And Jules, the head waiter, he becomes even more evasive, uncooperative. Racksole observes really keenly that the waiter has so many advantages in such a contest between guests and staff.
Which is a brilliant reversal of power dynamics, isn't it? The millionaire, the new owner, is suddenly at a profound disadvantage against his own employees.
It's a totally compelling inversion. The traditional power dynamic wealthy guest, now owner, holds all the cards completely overturned. Jules, with his intimate knowledge of the hotel's inner workings, its hidden passages, its secrets, its network of staff, he suddenly holds this immense, almost invisible power over Racksole.
So his evasiveness isn't just him being difficult.
Oh no. It's highly calculated. It's a move within this deeper unfolding game that Racksole is only just starting to even perceive. Racksole, who's used to commanding and being instantly obeyed, finds himself lost in this world where information is currency, loyalty is questionable, and the very people who seem to exist to serve him, they might actually have their own profound, possibly sinister agendas and capabilities.
It's a chilling reminder that control can be just an illusion, especially if it's built on trust that gets betrayed. The mystery then gets even deeper and intensely personal. It reaches Racksole's own family. He finds his daughter, Nella Racksole, her proper name is Helen, apparently in this deeply unsettling situation in room number 107, which is later called No 3.
Yes, and the sequence of events leading up to this discovery is designed to be utterly chilling, to really ratchet up the tension fast.
How does it happen?
Racksole is doing this late-night exploration of his new hotel, which is kind of unusual for a millionaire owner, right? But he's driven by this insane curiosity.
Okay.
And he notices this piece of white ribbon tied around the door handle of a bedroom. Then he actually sees Jules mysteriously closing and reopening that same door, removing the ribbon, and then vanishing into the maze-like corridors.
Weird. Very suspicious.
Totally. So his curiosity, now combined with his growing sense of unease, makes him investigate. He finds the room, which turns out to be Nella's, locked. And worse, the window is broken, badly broken, and from the outside.
From the outside? Oh, that's bad. That screams foul play. A direct threat to his daughter.
Absolutely. And then, in the transverse corridor nearby, he literally stumbles upon a pair of revolvers, the kind that are made from Millionaire.
Revolvers. Okay, so this just went from worrying to deadly serious.
Instantly. It transforms a missing daughter scenario into an immediate tangible threat. And this discovery pushes Racksole into this immediate, intense confrontation with Jules, because now he has undeniable evidence of foul play.
And that confrontation is absolutely pivotal, isn't it? Racksole, now armed with those millionaire-grade revolvers, directly accuses Jules of being a liar when Jules denies Nella is in the room, claiming the occupant is a gentleman.
Yes.
The whole staff-guest hierarchy just gets completely obliterated right there. Racksole asserts his authority, not through his money or his ownership this time, but through force, against the man who, just moments before, seemed to hold the real, almost mystical power in the hotel.
It's a massive shift.
It really makes you think that what-if question. What if Racksole hadn't found those revolvers? What if he hadn't decided to wander his hotel at 3 a.m.?
Oh, that's a great question. If he hadn't found them, the situation could have played out totally differently, and much more dangerously for Nella.
How so?
Without that immediate physical evidence, that implied threat, Racksole might have just been stonewalled by Jules, left trying to navigate the hotel's confusing staff loyalties without any real leverage. It could have been a much more drawn-out, difficult struggle to even find out where Nella was, possibly with fatal consequences for her or someone else.
So the revolvers gave him the immediate upper hand.
They did. They provided this undeniable advantage, forcing Jules to back down and open the door. It's a classic example of how a seemingly random discovery, spurred by pure curiosity, can dramatically change the course of a crisis, especially when you're up against someone like Jules who, as Racksole realized, had so many advantages in such a contest.
It really highlights the immense risks and challenges involved in confronting whatever hidden conspiracy is going on. His late-night walk, initially just a whim, becomes the critical action that starts to unveil the real danger.
Exactly.
Okay, so quick summary of this section. Racksole's impulsive purchase of the Grand Babylon for what he considers just amusement rapidly plunges him into this deep mystery. First, the indispensable Miss Spencer vanishes, signaling a huge crack in the hotel's supposed perfect management. Then, the dramatic discovery of his daughter Nella's room, marked by that white ribbon, the broken window, coupled with finding those revolvers, brings him into direct, armed confrontation with Jules.
Yeah.
This whole sequence just reveals that the Grand Babylon Hotel is so far from the simple business venture he thought it was. It's a place harboring profound and dangerous secrets, where the lines between master and servant, truth and deception are just completely blurred.
It's that stark realization, isn't it, that a transaction, which seems straightforward to a man of industry, has accidentally entangled him in this deeply personal danger. And an international intrigue, all within what he thought was just a luxury property. The hotel's stopped being a place of repose, it's become a crucible of crisis.
And that intrigue gets even more complex, even more sinister. Let's dive into Section 3, where the conspiracy really starts to unravel, bringing royalty, murder, and masterminds into the harsh light.
Okay, the plot thickens considerably here.
So we've got Nella in this precarious spot, Racksole armed, Jules being extremely unhelpful. But then a new character enters the picture who helps Nella start piecing together the initial clues. Reginald Dimmock. He's described as the English companion to Prince Aribert of Posen.
Ah, royalty enters the chat.
Exactly, and he's been having these fascinating, though kind of vague conversations with Nella about European royalty.
And what's immediately fascinating here is how this seemingly innocent topic, European royalty, quickly spirals into something much darker. Politically charged intrigue.
How so?
Well, our sources tell us that Prince Aribert is deeply connected to the Grand Ducal throne of Posen through his uncle, the reigning Grand Duke Eugen. And there's an expected royal marriage involved. A classic political move to secure power, lineage.
Right, standard royal stuff.
Yeah, but Dimmock is initially making these vague denials about Aribert being a reigning prince. He's trying to downplay their importance. However, This early mention strategically sets the stage for the true stakes of the conspiracy.
Which are?
Royal succession, political stability within this European noble house,
Yeah.
potentially even international relations, which were obviously huge concerns in the very politically charged atmosphere of the early 20th century. It broadens the scope way beyond the hotel walls, hinting at global implications.
But then, the shocking discovery. Dimmock is found dead on a stretcher.
Oh, dear.
And a doctor rather suspiciously dismisses it as sunstroke or maybe heart disease. But Racksole's gut feeling, his intuition, tells him it's something much deeper, something seriously wrong.
Yeah, the doctor's comment doesn't help.
Not at all. The doctor cryptically says the symptoms are unusual to a degree. That definitely doesn't quell any suspicions.
No kidding. This is the critical moment where that facade of serenity and repose just completely shatters, not just for Racksole, but for the entire illusion of the Grand Babylon. Dimmock's death becomes this devastating case study of failure.
Failure of what?
A catastrophic breakdown of the hotel's security, its reputation, its promise of discretion. What looks like a medical emergency at first quickly unravels into suspected murder and a clear attempt at a cover-up.
The cover-up being...
Highly suspicious removal of Dimmock's body from the hotel's anteroom. Without proper procedure, apparently, even though an inspector of police was involved, that just screams foul play. It raises serious ethical questions about complicity or maybe deliberate ignorance from those trying to control the story.
So the hotel, this symbol of perfect management, is now a very public crime scene.
Exactly. Highlighting the extreme risks and challenges involved when such a prestigious place gets tangled up in something so sinister. It also shows how power can be used to manipulate official processes, perhaps.
Definitely seems that way. And as this whole macabre scene is unfolding, another peculiar character arrives. This plump little old lady, Baroness Sirlinsky. She's apparently exuding an air of continental nobility.
Ah, the Baroness.
She requests very specific rooms, 121 and 122, then changes to 122 and 123. And her luggage is strangely described as being a considerable quantity.
Suspicious details.
On the surface, it seems maybe harmless, just an eccentric guest. But Nella, Racksole's daughter, she has this knack for observation that goes way beyond just surface appearances.
And this is where Nella's quiet intelligence, her joy of discovery, as the source calls it, really shines. It's a great counterpoint to her father's more direct, forceful style.
How does she figure it out?
Well, the Baroness presents this highly convincing, if slightly eccentric, persona of continental nobility. It's calculated to deflect suspicion. But Nella's acute observation skills may be developed just from being young and curious. Allow her to slowly, meticulously unmask the Baroness.
What's she notice?
Details others might just dismiss. Checking the ledgers. Noticing discrepancies in the Baroness's supposed movements. The peculiar, almost unfeminine way the Baroness eats a tart.
Eats a tart, really?
Apparently. And then the most crucial clue. Spotting a wig, a paintbrush, and grease paints in her room.
Ah, the tools of disguise.
Exactly. This methodical, almost detective-like deduction reveals that Baroness Sirlinsky is, in fact, Miss Spencer, the supposedly disappeared bureau chief in an elaborate disguise.
No way, Miss Spencer.
The very same. This completely busts the myth of the harmless noblewoman, revealing instead a criminal mastermind beneath this meticulously constructed costume. It's a powerful testament to the value of careful observation over just accepting superficial appearances.
That's incredible.
It connects, with past trends in crime fiction where theatrical disguises were often used to conceal identity. It reflected the societal fascination with hidden identities in an increasingly transient urban world back then.
What's truly fascinating here is just how meticulous, how detailed that disguise is, and how a young woman like Nella, just by paying attention to the small things, can see right through such a sophisticated ruse.
It really is.
It speaks volumes about the level of planning in this conspiracy, but also about the often overlooked power of unassuming observation.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
The sheer effort put into creating the Baroness Sirlinsky persona. It underscores the professional, elaborate nature of this criminal enterprise. This wasn't spur of the moment.
No.
It was a carefully plotted strategy, relying on the anonymity and transient nature of a grand hotel to pull off a major crime right under everyone's noses.
And Nella seeing through it.
It highlights a key theme. Even the most elaborate deceptions, even those orchestrated by seemingly legitimate figures in positions of trust, can be undone by simple, persistent inquiry and keen observation. It's almost like a warning to us, the listeners, isn't it?
Yeah.
In a world of increasing complexity, appearances can be profoundly misleading. Discernment is such a crucial skill.
The criminals basically weaponized the hotel's discretion and aristocratic monotony, used its trusted staff as their perfect cover.
Precisely.
And then comes the full, shocking confession. Miss Spencer, now unmasked and revealed as Mrs. Tom Jackson, tells Nella everything.
The whole story spills out.
Reginald Dimmock wasn't just murdered, he was poisoned. And his body was stolen to cover up the real crime.
Which was?
The ultimate target was Prince Eugen of Posen. He's been kidnapped for a massive ransom, tens of thousands of pounds. It's all connected. A web of deceit woven by the very people entrusted with the hotel's serenity.
This is the grand unveiling. The moment all those scattered threads, the weird ribbon, the broken window, Dimmock's death, the Baroness, finally weave together into this chilling tapestry.
So Jules' true identity is Tom Jackson, and Miss Spencer is Mrs. Tom Jackson.
A married couple. A criminal duo who had infiltrated the very heart of the Grand Babylon Hotel, manipulating its structures for who knows how long.
And their motivation, just money.
It seems so. Purely financial gain. Seeking those tens of thousands of pounds from the ransom and astronomical sum back then. The layers of deception are just astounding. The loyal head waiter, the efficient bureau chief, they were the masterminds all along.
At a royal kidnapping. And Prince Aribert, Dimmock's companion.
Far from an innocent victim or just a companion, he's revealed as complicit in the whole scheme, operating under the alias Count Steenbock, apparently, lending this air of legitimacy to the conspirators.
Wow. That highlights the immense opportunities these criminals seized, isn't it? Using their insider knowledge, their positions of trust.
Exactly. To orchestrate a high-stakes royal kidnapping and murder, the risks for the victims, especially Prince Eugen, are huge. Physical harm, significant political instability for his Grand Duchy.
So who benefits and who loses here?
Well, the Jacksons and Prince Aribert stand to benefit financially and perhaps politically for Aribert, who loses Prince Eugen, obviously, his family, and ultimately the integrity of that aristocratic society the Grand Babylon was supposed to serve. It's a stark reminder that even the most polished surfaces can hide deep corruption.
And they had a meticulously planned escape route, too.
Oh, yeah.
Prince Eugen was going to be transported on the steamer Marie Henriette from Dover to Ostend. It's a truly international operation. Moving from the heart of London's luxury right out onto the English Channel shows the scope and ambition of their plan.
Wow. The detail of the Marie Henriette just confirms that sophisticated, cross-border nature of the plot. This wasn't some petty crime. It was organized, multi-stage. It leveraged the very infrastructure of international travel and commerce that defined the early 20th century.
And the fact that the hotel's own gods were orchestrating it from inside, it raises disturbing questions about trust, loyalty, and service industries, how easily seemingly legitimate figures could be involved in something like this.
It really does. It's a powerful narrative about how unchecked ambition, combined with strategic positioning, can turn respected institutions into tools for personal gain. Vigilance is always required.
Okay, let's recap Section 3. Our deep dive has plunged us right into the heart of a royal conspiracy. We found out Reginald Dimmock was murdered, his body stolen, all to conceal the kidnapping of Prince Eugen of Posen for a huge ransom. The masterminds, none other than the seemingly loyal Grand Babylon staff, Jules, a.k.a. Tom Jackson, and Miss Spencer, a.k.a. Mrs. Tom Jackson, with Prince Aribert, a.k.a. Count Steenbock, as their royal accomplice.
Unbelievable.
This whole affair, meticulously planned, executed, it just underscores the profound dangers lurking beneath polite society, beneath that glittering facade of luxury, reveals a world where trust is just a commodity and identity is a totally malleable disguise.
It's a truly chilling revelation, isn't it? That the individuals most trusted within an established institution can actually be its greatest threat, driven by ambition, greed, completely upending our expectations of order and decorum. It's a powerful story about how appearances don't just deceive, they can actively conceal criminal enterprise.
And that leads us perfectly into some broader reflections. What does this all mean, both for the characters and for us, the listeners? Let's move into our final section, the hotel as a stage for modernity and morality.
Okay, let's zoom out.
So, connecting back to our initial mission, what does this all mean for us, the learners? This hotel started as a symbol of aristocratic monotony, flawless service. And it transformed into the stage for international crime, secret identities, high-stakes intrigue. It feels like it's far more than just a setting, right? Almost like an allegory for something bigger.
Absolutely. The Grand Babylon Hotel really functions as an active character in this story. It's a microcosm of modern society itself, particularly capturing the anxieties and opportunities of the early 20th century.
How?
Well, initially it embodies that era's ideal of order, tradition, impeccable service, a bastion of European refinement and stability. But as Racksole's impulsive purchase and everything that follows unfolds, it rapidly becomes a symbol of the breakdown of those values.
Right.
When it's confronted by the disruptive force of new money, and even more alarmingly, the pervasive deception of its own trusted staff, the hotel's veneer of calm just shatters. It reveals the underlying anxieties of an era grappling with rapid social economic change, where traditional structures were under immense pressure.
I think you said earlier.
Yeah, you could say it's like the world's finest clockwork mechanism, but with a bomb ticking inside. The meticulous gears of luxury and service were, in fact, expertly concealing this volatile criminal enterprise.
And the novel's title itself, A Fantasia on Modern Themes, really speaks volumes about this, doesn't it? It uses the hotel to explore some very specific anxieties of the time, new money challenging old power structures, the vulnerability of royalty in a rapidly changing world, and the complex, often fluid nature of identity. Everyone, it seems, has a secret or a hidden agenda.
That phrase, Fantasia on Modern Themes, is profoundly key. It captures this almost dreamlike yet deeply unsettling way Bennett explores these emerging societal concerns through a kind of heightened reality.
Right.
The Grand Hotel, being this melting pot of nationalities and classes, becomes the ideal arena to stage these conflicts. The clash between Racksole's American enterprise and the Grand Babylon's European tradition. It highlights that inherent tension between burgeoning industrial capitalism and centuries-old aristocratic tradition, a defining feature of the transition into modernity.
And the kidnapping.
The kidnapping of royalty underscores anxieties about the diminishing power, the security of traditional monarchies in a world moving towards more democratic, more commercial influences. And maybe most powerfully, the pervasive use of disguise and false identities. Jules, Miss Spencer, Prince Aribert as Count Steenbock.
Yeah, everyone's faking it.
It speaks to this broader concern about trust in an increasingly anonymous, mobile, complex world, where people could easily reinvent themselves and conceal their true intentions behind a veneer of respectability. It pointedly asks us, who are people truly beneath their roles and titles? And how much of what we perceive is just a meticulously maintained performance?
Let's lean into that clash of cultures a bit more. Old world charm versus new world enterprise. It was so direct. Can we frame this as a kind of pro versus con debate based on what we saw in the Grand Babylon? What were the strengths and weaknesses of each approach?
That's an excellent way to unpack it. Let's start with the pros of old world European style, as seen in the hotel. First, meticulous service and established reputation. The hotel's long history since 1869, its legendary reputation for serenity and repose, Jules' initial perfection. Undeniable strengths. It offered unparalleled luxury, comfort, and that crucial discretion, attracting men of all sizes, ages, and nationalities, including royalty. That pedigree built immense trust.
Okay, makes sense. What else?
Second, historical grandeur and decorum. The Grand Babylon embodied this timeless prestige tradition, that genuine separate entrance for royal visitors, the aristocratic monotony. It was all highly valued, everything handled with this almost sacred decorum, projecting an image of unshakable stability.
Right. But there were downsides too, clearly. What were the cons of old world European style?
Well, first, rigidity and resistance to change. The hotel was resolutely opposed to American methods, especially in eating, drinking, and lodging.
Yeah.
This inflexibility, while it preserved their precious style, also made them resistant to innovation. New demands like Racksole found with his Angel Kiss. That resistance could be a real liability.
Okay. And the big one?
The big one. Vulnerability to hidden schemes. The very things that made the hotel grand, the deep-seated loyalty, the discretion, the trust placed in long-serving staff, could be, and were, perverted. The fact that the hotel's three gods were the masterminds shows how a rigid, trust-based system could become profoundly vulnerable to internal corruption, turning its greatest strengths into its most dangerous weaknesses. It bred this kind of institutional blindness to threats coming from within.
Scary. Okay, now let's flip it. What about New World American enterprise, as seen in Racksole? What were the pros?
First, directness and bold action. Racksole's immediate decision to just buy the hotel because he was denied a cocktail That shows incredible directness, a willingness to take decisive, bold action. He wasn't afraid to challenge the status quo or throw huge resources at a problem, however trivial it seemed.
Get it done.
Yeah. Second, adaptability and focus on results. While he was initially naive about running a hotel, Racksole adapted quickly. His focus was on getting results, whether it was his steak cooked right or, more importantly, uncovering the truth about Nella and Dimmock. He shows that American energy and ingenuity in negotiating the deal and later in pursuing the mystery with this relentless, pragmatic approach.
But there were definitely cons of New World American enterprise, too.
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
First, naivety about complex social structures. Racksole's initial dismissal of the Grand Babylon as just another business like a railroad, his assumption he could just control it through ownership. It showed a profound lack of understanding of the intricate social dynamics, the human elements involved.
Right.
His comment, "I didn't suppose you did keep it, but you can mix it, I guess, even in this hotel," reveals this casual disregard for established rules, which can come across as arrogant.
Right. He didn't get the style.
Not at first. And second, potentially disruptive without full understanding. His direct, often blunt approach, while effective sometimes, could be highly disruptive without a full appreciation of the cultural, historical context. He initially just steamrolls over a system he doesn't fully comprehend, which could lead to unforeseen problems or alienate people who could have been allies.
This analysis brings up a really interesting kind of recursive question. Does Racksole's initial American ignorance, does it ironically give him a massive advantage in uncovering the European conspiracy precisely because he's not bound by their rules? He doesn't respect the aristocratic monotony or the deference owed to staff like others might?
That is an incredibly perceptive point, and I would argue unequivocally yes. His American ignorance does give him an unexpected critical advantage. Yeah. He approaches the whole situation with this fresh, unburdened perspective. He isn't steeped in the European traditions of discretion, deference, the unspoken hotel code that might blind others. Where a European nobleman or even an experienced hotelier might hesitate to accuse a celebrated head waiter, like Jules, or an indispensable bureau chief like Miss Spencer, or question a prince,
Racksole just dives in.
Racksole's directness lets him cut right through those layers of politesse, social expectation. He's willing to call Jules a liar, wave revolvers around. He sees the hotel not as some secret institution, but as a problem to be solved much like a railroad. And he applies his American energy and ingenuity to figure out his hidden mechanics, precisely because he doesn't recognize or respect the rules the conspirators were so expertly exploiting.
So his naivety becomes like a kind of cultural immunity.
Exactly. It allows him to challenge assumptions, pursue the truth, without being constrained by the very system the criminals were using to their advantage.
That's a fantastic insight. How an outsider's view, even one born from misunderstanding, can be crucial. Okay, let's play some what-if scenarios now. Think about the lingering questions this story leaves us with. What if Racksole hadn't been so insanely curious about that angel kiss? What if Nella hadn't taken the joy of discovery in investigating the Baroness so meticulously? How might things have unfolded differently?
Oh, those what-ifs really highlight how precarious the whole situation was, and the critical role of individual agency, even just personality quirks.
Right.
If Racksole hadn't insisted on his angel kiss, that initial microaggression might never have escalated into him buying the hotel. Without his ownership or his late-night wandering driven by pure curiosity, Nella might have just stayed locked in room 1073, completely at the mercy of the conspirators, her fate unknown. The abduction of Prince Eugen might have gone off without a hitch. Ransom paid, criminals vanish. And likewise, if Nella hadn't possessed those keen observation skills, that proactive joy of discovery in unmasking the Baroness checking ledgers, noticing weird eating habits, spotting the wig and grease paints.
Miss Spencer's disguise would have held.
Likely would have. And the entire plot might have gone undetected, or at least been significantly delayed. The implications for hotel management, then, are immense. It underscores that even the most secure-seeming places can harbor profound dangers if not managed, with constant vigilance, critical thinking, and a willingness to question the apparently perfect.
And for international relations.
The successful kidnapping, potential murder of a prince could have sparked a major diplomatic crisis, maybe worse. Altered political landscapes. Yeah, and just for personal safety, the story is a chilling reminder. Appearances can be deeply deceptive. Trust has to be earned through scrutiny, not just granted based on a role or an institution's reputation.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, how does this reflect broader anxieties, maybe even today, about information overload, about trust in a rapidly changing world? This story is over a century old, but it feels remarkably relevant.
It absolutely does.
Yeah.
The ease with which Jules and Miss Spencer, these seemingly legitimate, highly respected, deeply ingrained figures within a pillar of society, could be involved in such a sophisticated crime. The way they exploited their positions of trust. It resonates profoundly with modern anxieties.
How so?
In our world today, we're constantly bombarded with information. The lines between what's legitimate and what's deceptive can be incredibly blurry. This story, in a way, is an early exploration of information asymmetry, the power of narrative control.
Right. Who controls the story?
Exactly. It prompts us to question official narratives, the credibility of those in power, whether they're in venerable institutions or online. It's a powerful narrative about discernment, the ever-present need for critical thinking in a world where facades are so easily constructed and maintained. It makes you ask, doesn't it? What stands out to you about how easily seemingly legitimate figures could be involved in such a crime, and how often we might overlook the obvious just because of our preconceptions?
Yeah. It pushes us to look beyond the surface.
To question assumptions,
Yeah.
to recognize that even the most polished facades can conceal profound complexities, moral ambiguities. It's a timeless lesson. The most dangerous secrets often hide in plain sight, protected by the very trust they exploit.
So, to wrap up this final section, the Grand Babylon Hotel really transcends its role as just a setting. It becomes this rich allegory for the clash between traditional values and modern ambition. It shows how intricate plots can unfold right in plain sight. With the hotel's very structure, its esteemed staff becoming instruments of deception, and this prompts us to critically question appearances, the true nature of power.
And how individual curiosity, keen observation, and maybe a refusal to conform can unravel even the most sophisticated conspiracies, offering timeless lessons about trust and vigilance really in any era.
We've journeyed through the luxurious halls of the Grand Babylon Hotel. We've witnessed that clash of American enterprise and European tradition, and delved deep into a thrilling conspiracy of royal kidnapping and murder.
Quite a ride.
It really was. We've seen how unlikely heroes, driven by curiosity and keen observation, can emerge from unexpected circumstances, transforming a simple cocktail order into this full-blown international incident that shakes the very foundations of power. This deep dive truly shows us that a single source, a captivating novel like Arnold Bennett's, can unlock a whole world of knowledge and intrigue, offering insights that still resonate with our own complex world today.
The Grand Babylon Hotel, with its hidden plots, its secret identities. It really reminds us that what appears to be a perfectly managed, serene environment can conceal these profound complexities and moral ambiguities. It challenges our assumptions about who holds power, who can truly be trusted, and what really lies beneath the surface of respectability, even in the most seemingly impregnable institutions.
So the next time you encounter an institution, or maybe even a person that seems almost too perfect, too serene, too perfectly managed, ask yourself, what deeper currents might be flowing beneath that polished exterior? What grand Babylons exist in your own world that are just waiting for a true deep dive? Waiting for someone to question the aristocratic monotony and look beyond the immediate facade?
Good question.
Perhaps, like Racksole and Nella, you'll uncover a story far richer and maybe more intriguing than you ever imagined. Thank you for joining us on The Deep Dive.